Great. Oh, you good? Awesome. First of all, what did you see from Gascoignes over the weekend?
Smart, clean. I thought he integrated into the group pretty seamlessly, having not had many training sessions. But it just shows, again, the intelligence of the player, his awareness, ability to connect with his teammates inside of a game, and to play simple, to play quickly. Obviously, he had some situations where even defensively he was solid, where he had to deal with some one-on-one situations where he stripped the ball, and just, again, it just shows the experience and the quality of a player like that to be able to step in quickly and to integrate into a group and have an impact was great. I think it took him about 10 minutes to take more than 2 touches and about 20 minutes to take more than 3 touches, which is just the simplicity of things, which again shows that the game is going through his mind at a speed that is nice. This is what I've seen from him for years. Why I wanted him here is because I feel like he's a piece that will fit very nicely with Markey, which we saw, but also just plays within the vision of how we want our team to play. The ball's moving quickly, he's smart, he takes up good positions, and he's disciplined about how he plays the game. So I was pleased. He's still working towards fitness, full fitness, and it's not easy to come off of 6 weeks since playing a game and having about 3 or 4 training sessions and getting into it. So just physically helping him recover and build on his fitness. But yeah, I was really pleased.
Douglas spoke about kind of what he brought to the midfield in terms of just freeing up Douglas. But
sure.
What about Ryan? Did you notice Ryan was able to kind of move a little bit more freely and did it have the effects you anticipated on the midfield?
Yeah, I think, again, having Mark and Gascoignes behind really allowed Ryan, especially in this game, to play higher. You see his physical qualities to run through the line, sometimes out of midfield, that we didn't get very much before when Ryan was sitting a little deeper, and our playmakers are in there, whether it's Vic or the other guys. They want the ball to their feet, where Ryan will break through the lines. He'll add an extra body in the box. In transition, he ran out one time, and Kevin played him in behind, and unfortunate to not get more out of that. But you see also just some more target possibilities. We can play through the lines to someone strong who can hold up the game a little bit more. So freeing him up, I think, gave us just a little bit more power in the box, power through the lines, which can help. It creates and opens up spaces. It gives Javi somebody to work with as well. But Ryan also helps us to overload the midfield, to give us some defensive presence, which I think is important, especially in a game like the last one, where the opposition's playing with 4 central midfielders, and they're trying to overload the midfield. Having another player of Ryan's qualities and having another midfielder who can help you defend and help you keep the ball is important. Again, it's important for how we want to play to be able to control the midfield.
We've talked a lot about Douglas throughout this year. Now you think you got him on the right track here?
I do. I think, I see it day to day in terms of the training environment. His fitness is growing. His high-speed movements are increasing. His sharpness when he gets the ball at his feet to eliminate the first guy and create a new scenario, or to enforce the opposition to send a second player to have to deal with him, which then opens up spaces. For me, he just looks physically, even like I said, in training, you can tell he's not struggling, right? There was a good stretch of the first 2 months, 3 months that he was here where you could just see physically that he didn't feel right. He wasn't complaining about anything, but we watch him like he's just not moving freely. It doesn't look, you don't see it. He's holding himself back. He's not sprinting. And now we're seeing, again, more dynamic movement, more sharper movement. He's still a guy who prefers the ball at his feet and wants to take people on versus to just break behind the back line. But it's continuing to find the balance in that. But his capacity to eliminate one guy, but also his quality and some of the final actions and the final passes. The one he plays across that ends up becoming the goal. He beats the guy to the end line. It's with his left foot. He still cuts a nice little ball back to be finished. So we see some more of those things that can impact the games. We're seeing it more consistently through the matches. So again, it's just continue to push for him to be able to replicate those high intensity movements for 90 minutes, for as many minutes as possible in the game. So.
Of course, like the pressure and the expectations that come with a player like him,
sure,
his experience, and just how have you seen him deal with that? And also, like, especially for example with the fans when they're expecting those immediate results, and just leading him through that process.
Yeah, I mean, Listen, players who've played at the level that he's played at, they know a whole different level of pressure that most of us don't encounter on a daily basis, you know. So he's been around it. He understands what that is. I think he's confident in terms of his abilities. I think the most important thing was to gain some physical confidence, some trust in his body, trust in himself, that he could do the things that he is capable of doing. You know, I think one of the other things I didn't say in the last question, but in this one, was he played inside of the team. He didn't try to overcomplicate the game trying to make a difference, because I think that's sometimes with players of his capacity who can be people on the dribble, is they come to MLS and they try to force things to happen and try to force moments, and then it becomes more complicated. And I felt like inside of the game the other day, he played with his team and allowed the team to set up the moments for him to make the difference as well. And I think that's gaining trust with your group and you know, again, feeling confident about where you're at physically, and certainly he's capable and confident in what he's capable of doing. So I think all those things fit together. I think managing the pressure side of it, again, he's played in the biggest environments in the world. I think he can manage the pressure part of it. I think the most important thing is that he feels physically confident, and that he feels inside of the group that he's comfortable with his teammates and the players around him, and that he's trusting them, and they're like trusting him as well. And I think the moments for him to make a difference are going to show up in each one of these matches.
Thoughts on Dallas? They're in third place, I think, fourth place. But I think the standings from like 3 to 10 is separated like 5.
So tight, yeah, so tight. Good team, especially at home. Not an easy place to play in Dallas, especially in August. It's, you know, it's warm. The tempo of the game it kind of varies. They're going to be certainly used to some of the humidity and some of the heat. For us, it's just to push through it and bring it. They're a team they're tactically, they're well organized. They have players who certainly can impact a game. Their wingers are fast. We saw that here. You know, the little inside-out runs and the runs behind the back line gave us problems here. So we've got to do a really good job of managing our depth, much better than we did in previous games, making sure that we control their wingers and their runners. But they, you know, obviously with their group, they have some attacking quality. But not just that, but they have some guys who are just really committed. When they make runs, they make runs. And we've got to manage that situation, still win and control the middle of the field, take care of the ball when we have it, which can help slow the game to play out our tempo, and we want it, but we've got to punish them too when we get chances. I think we're number 1 in the league in terms of expected goals on the road, and we've got to execute on the road to try to give ourselves the advantage and the opportunity to see the game out.
Greg, you want to talk about the center back combination that you had this week and how comfortable you were with those two? It seemed like Eric had a very good 60 minutes before he had to come out.
Yeah, you know, it's something we'd seen in training from the two leading into the game. They both, as experienced center backs, tend to see situations very similarly. You know, Eric prioritizes managing the depth a little bit more than he may say goes closing into midfield to recover the ball. And I felt like because of that, the opposition exposed the space behind us less, which is something that we have to improve upon. You know, we have exposed ourselves behind the back line too much this year, and so I felt like those two guys were doing a nice job of controlling the depth and keeping the game in front of them, which allows our midfielders now that we have who are workers to really help defensively, recover back, just give them time to help you, and they can help you. So I thought they did a nice job together. For me, the center back thing is never about one guy. It's about a combination of them, and I think the two of them really dealt with situations on the same page, and I think just their vision for reading situations comes from a similar place, and so it was nice to see the two of them just have a good, solid, strong game, and we continue to build a little bit on that relationship and see how it goes, and keep everybody ready as we move forward.
Chase is more. Chase is more stay at home. So he got the start. How do you like that? Are you comfortable with that? Rob was a little bit different for you.
Sure.
Do you want a combination of the two, or how's that going?
Yeah, I think they're different players that we can use in different ways. I would say what Chase brings is he's certainly more experienced at the left back position. He's played more over his whole career just as the left back. So again, he probably takes a slightly more conservative approach to the position, where Raw is a little more aggressive. He's got an attacking mindset. He wants to get going. He wants to get into these attacking positions. And Chase, again, gave us maybe just a little bit more ability to control things in the transition, to be at home. I heard that he was like 100% on his passing and completion, which means that you're not putting ourselves into bad transitions and if we're completing passes. So I think, again, just a good, solid, clean performance, which is important from our back line. I really just don't think our back line has to be the difference makers for our team. I think they have to help control games, prevent chances, protect us in transition moments, find the right moments to then add the extra number into the attack. And I think Chase, again, just through his experiences, is maybe a little more calculated, where Raw is just a little bit more aggressive sometimes in some of those situations. And Chase is also, he's a good crosser of the ball. He's probably arguably one of our better crossers of the ball. When he gets into positions like the one he put on Ryan's head, he gives the guys a chance in the final action, which maybe you don't need as many chances. As Kobe said, you only need 2. If you put 2 in the right place, then you got something. You don't need 10 to get 2, right? So it was a good showing for him, nice and controlled. And I think he's trying to settle into the group. He's got here and he came and he had a tough situation that he was working himself through, but then he also came with a slight growing issue. He was trying to play through it. We took some time off, and now I think he's just trying to settle into the team and just be consistent about his performances. But I was pleased with his night.